Hello everyone, this is Arafellin playing Link to the Past. I'm in the practice ROM for convenience, but today I'm going to demonstrate a glitch called Magic Cape Cheapskate. There are two different ways of doing this, which have their own advantages and disadvantages, but basically, in case you're not familiar with this, the Magic Cape, which I have selected, as you can see in the top left, is an item you can get in the game that temporarily makes you invisible and invulnerable. It lets you pass through enemies and other obstacles without getting hit. It makes you completely immune to damage, but it drains your magic pretty quickly, and when your magic runs out, the cape stops working. And as you can see, it burns through your magic pretty quickly, and you can turn it off at any time to stop the drain, but you've already lost however much magic you lost. But there are several ways to make it last longer. The first is you simply swing your sword rapidly. You can see I'm tapping B repeatedly, and the drain has not quite stopped, but it's considerably slowed. So this is lasting much longer than it normally would. This is very useful in certain boss fights if you want to just be attacking constantly and not have to worry about getting hit. It can be particularly nice for Vitreous, for instance. The other neat thing about that is it works even if you don't have a sword. You can still do your swinging animation. And although you don't have a sword going or anything like that, the magic is going much more slowly. My understanding of why this is because the cape magic drain works somewhat differently for most magic items, and the game, to save time, only checks for it in certain states. So some of your sword swinging states, it just doesn't do this check at all, so it doesn't drain the magic. The other, easier and more effective way that does not give you any offense, but if you're simply trying to survive, you put the cape on, go up against a wall or other thing, and hold A to hold on to the wall. Now you obviously can't see that I'm grabbing the wall, but you can see the A button indicator up in the top left there that I'm holding it. And the Magic Cape is not draining magic at all. It just does not check for this at all while you're grabbing something. Now this is not when you're carrying something like a pot or whatever, it was when you're holding on to a stationary object such as a wall. One place where that is particularly useful is in the game's infamous tile rooms, such as this one in Ganon's Tower. There's all sorts of things going on here. You have an anti-fairy flying around the room, you have a bunny beam coming after you, you have a ceiling master trying to grab you. As long as you have the cape on and active, none of this can touch you. And since you have to wait out the tiles before the chest appears in this room or the door opens in some other rooms, there's really nothing better to do than throw on the cape, grab a wall, and wait. As a little bonus feature, I'll point out the game has another invulnerability item, the Cane of Byrna, which may lead to the question, how do these stack up with each other as far as efficiency goes? The cane does not have any tricks you can use to prolong it the way the cape does, but if you're just using them normally, the way they consume magic is somewhat different. The cape has a continual magic drain that is constant. The cane has an initial activation cost and then has a lower ongoing drain once it's active. And of course, which lasts longer depends partly on how much magic you start with, whether or not you have the half magic cost to upgrade. But I'll just put all four of these cases next to each other if the editing all goes well, with and without half magic, with the cape and with the cane, starting from full, and we'll see how long each of them lasts. There are other advantages and disadvantages to using each of them. For instance, the cane has that swirling magic effect around you, which will damage and knock away enemies, and is actually surprisingly good against some early bosses. While the cape lets you do spin attacks and sword beams, which the cane does not because of that special effect, and lets you phase through certain things including bumpers. However, from a pure magic efficiency standpoint, the cape is better for a short burst because it does not have the activation cost, while the cane is better for long burns because it has a significantly lower ongoing cost. It's also kind of interesting how they interact differently with certain things, for instance, non-moving spikes like the ones on the side here. If you have the cape on, you'll walk right through the moving spike, and the non-moving spikes are just basically solid blocks. With the cane, however, you can still walk right through the moving one, but you will bounce off the non-moving ones as though you took damage, even though you don't. So if someone has, say, a ROM hack with a spike maze, the cape is a better bet because it lets you navigate through there without bouncing off things constantly. Similarly, the one place the cape is required in the base game, it lets you go right through bumpers as though they're not there. Whereas if you have the cane equipped, you still bounce off. They also have some slightly odd interactions with your sword. For instance, if you have the Master Sword or better, and you swing when you're at full health, you shoot sword beams. If you have any sword, you can hold B to charge up a spin attack. However, if you're using the cane, neither of those work. You can stick your sword out, but you can't charge a spin attack, and you can't shoot beams either. Presumably that's because the game is occupied doing the swirly magic thing, so it doesn't have the resources to spare for the extra beams or the sparkles of the spin attack and all that. However, if you're using the cape, all it does is turn you invisible, so sword beams still work, spin attack still works. It's a better offensive weapon except against things that the swirly thing actually works on. And speaking of things the cane works on, you're probably never going to see this except in a randomizer run, but look what it does to the Armos Knights. I ran out of magic before finishing off the last one, but even so. That's pretty impressive. In any case, this has been Arafelon demonstrating both methods of the Magic Cape Cheapskate glitch, as well as some other uses of the cape and the related Cane of Byrna and how they are similar and different. I hope you enjoyed it.